Indian Naval Academy for me was a terror and a terrific experience both, because I was never a runner. I was never, what do you say, physically fit to run 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. So when I asked my dad, academy mein kya kya hota hai, because he had cleared his Air Force Academy about like long time back, 20, 25 years, 30 years back. Being a girl, you are going in these services, you have to be a part of every run possible. I remember, it's a very sensitive topic, but I remember I had my periods during the camps, which was a 4 night camp over there. And I went to my trainee officer and I asked her, I said, ma'am, I am on my period, so should I come for the run? She said, in case if there's a war, what will you do? You will sit with this. That was a time when I realized that, it is a war situation and that is what we are trained for. So there's no looking back from since then. And I mean, that is a kind of seriousness which is there in the Indian Naval Academy. So, and air traffic controlling is a kind of video game. I'm sure a lot of people play here, but it's a mind game where you cannot see what is happening in the airspace, but you have to control aircraft. They can be 5, 10, 15, or multiple aircraft. Right now, we have a lot of instruments, which can track the aircraft. Because I remember one incident when I was controlling, there were 2 aircraft coming and I gave them one level, though they were little far away, and the pilots, they were trained, and uh, I knew them personally, but somehow yes, that was a very big mistake I made. And I still get goosebumps with that anything could happen in the air. So yes, these are the kind of risks which an air traffic controller controlling involves service. And of course, being kind is one thing, because it's a very major factor which we see in Forge. Your family is my family, my family is your family. So that is how the Forge works.
Hello and welcome to Military Mantra. Today we have Deputy Commandant Vama Gaur, and in this interview, we'll try to understand her journey of joining the Indian Coast Guard, life in Indian Coast Guard, and various life lessons that she has learned over her service. So thanks a lot, ma'am, for joining here, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Akash, for having me here. And I'm blessed and truly honored to be at least of some help to the SSB aspirants. I hope at least. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could start telling us, how was your life before joining the Coast Guard, and what was your motivation back then to, join the Indian Coast Guard?
Okay. So a very valid question. I'm from Meerut, जहाँ पे लोग जाते हैं और उनकी खबर आती है, that kind of place. But I've never stayed there. My dad, he was in the Indian Air Force as a fighter pilot. So फौज को मैंने बहुत ही closely देखा है. I've always been a hardcore, person for the Indian Air Force. So Forge for me was a well जहाँ पे बहुत सारे लोग एक साथ रहते हैं, and I had no clue about what happens in the outside world. So I always, being a risk taker, I always had this, I really wanted to explore what is outside Indian Air Force. So मेरे को फौज का कम था, मुझे बाहर काम करने का ज़्यादा, I wanted to work outside in the corporate. So being in the Air Force, and after finishing my 10th and 12th from about 15 to 20 schools, which I had changed over so many years, finally, I joined a college in Amritsar for my BTech IT. And when I joined there, I took out my degree in honors, though I was a very tough student to be with. मेरी attendance बहुत कम होती थी. I was never a class person, never a lecture person. But I thought कि ठीक है, honors में निकाली degree, and I thought, oh my god, I'm such a hot shot. I'll get placed anywhere I want. But it did not happen. I did not get placed anywhere. कितनी companies आई उस time पे, Infosys were there, Wipro था, and a lot of companies were there. HCL, I think, was also one company. But I did not get placed anywhere, and I was very depressed. I was very upset with my performance. But I didn't know what to do. I thought चलो एक lecturer बन जाते हैं कहीं पे जाके, because that was the last thing which was there in my mind. And I had a friend of mine in Delhi. He wanted to appear for the services. And once he was appearing, he used to tell me कि हो नहीं रहा है, I don't know क्या problem है वगैरह वगैरह. तो I said चलो, I'll sit with you and let's practice exactly what is this SSB and FSB all about. So I started practicing with him. Practice basically उसको मैं practice कराती थी. And Coast Guard का उस time पे fast track selection चल रहा था in Noida. So he said कि ठीक है, if you are here then what will you do standing outside? Might as well you come and you join. You just take the exam. I said ठीक है चलो, we'll go and take the exam. And I cleared my prelims. After clearing that, I said, oh my God, ये क्या हो गया? This was highly unexpected. And I didn't even know what was Indian Coast Guard all about by that time. And then I took my SSB letter, which was about scheduled after 3 months. I think 3 months के बाद था. And I forgot about it. Just imagine. I mean, I forgot about it. That was the seriousness I had towards service. I forgot about that. I had an SSB, and till 3 months, I was dilly-dallying कि क्या करना है, कैसे करना है, and I don't know where to join. Life में क्या करना है, what is the purpose in my life? I had no clue. And finally, my dad he gets the SSB letter क्योंकि मैंने address दिया हुआ था वहाँ पे that you have to report at so and so place, and I had just 15 days in my hands. And that was a heaven's door बोलते हैं जिसको कि भाई जिंदगी में कुछ नहीं है, that is the opportunity. If I grab it, I grab it. Otherwise, there's nothing else left in my life. So 15 days, I put in my best. I did all those PPTs and group discussions and whatsoever I could. And I went for my SSB and I cleared it in the first shot, which was a gift of God, or you can say it's a boon. Finally, when I cleared it, I realized what is Indian Coast Guard all about. It was a sister service to Indian Navy. And yes, that's how Coast Guard happened to be. It was never a part of the plan.
Got it, ma'am. If you could also describe, how was the process of selection? Because I think now we do not have fast track though. It's FSB and PSP which happens in locally and then in the Noida. So how was your experience in the selection board, and what tips you would like to give to the aspirants who wants to go through the process? For example, the psychology, the GTO. Okay, the GTO also some parts of it which happens.
Mhm. Okay, so one thing I would tell you is the first thing is the written exam. So written exam is not tough, frankly, in case if you have a certain EQ, an IQ, a basic sense of exactly, you have basic maths, you have basic English. So you'll be able to clear the exam. That is not a problem, but practice, because today in today's era government job is it's a gift. So everyone is trying to go for government job, and it is better that you practice properly and take your prelims. Once that is done, then please take care of your medical. See, lot of times what happens is once you clear the prelims सबको लगता है कि भाई ये तो हो गया, खत्म हो गया, no, that is done. Medically बहुत सारे लोग out होते हैं, because I remember I got a spike in my ECG, एंड उस चीज को क्लियर करवाने में मेरे को बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लगा था. सो प्लीज बी अवेयर ऑफ योर इंटरनल रिपोर्ट्स, योर मेडिकल रिपोर्ट्स. ईसीजी हो गया, ऑडियोमेट्री हो गया, इवन योर हाइट, बेसिक थिंग्स लाइक लोगों की हाइट मैच नहीं होती है एज पर द एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया. सो प्लीज डोंट let that be a barrier in your selection. So just take care of that. Third thing is the SSP. Now one tip I would like to give is, the friend I had almost that was his 11th attempt. He was 6 times conference out, and that was 11th attempt. I would personally say that if you get 4 times conference out, 4 times, 5 times, just leave it, just let it be, because service is looking for a certain kind of EQ, certain kind of IQ. They don't want, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, 9 से ऊपर नहीं होना चाहिए आपका, 6 से नीचे नहीं होना चाहिए आपका, स्केल एवरेज में आना चाहिए, because you have to follow orders. If you're too brainy, you'll feel कि यार मैं क्यों follow करूँ orders. And if you're too not in that scale, then you will not understand how the dynamics of a force works. So in case if you're 4 to 5 times conference out, please leave it. You will fit in somewhere else. You will not be left unattended by nature. You will fit in somewhere else, but for that time just leave it and be yourself, because they will catch you. The psychometric test, it will catch you somewhere. You cannot bluff in that. So that thing, one tip I would like to give to people. Baki, aim for all services. I would say, कुछ लोग कहते हैं हमें एयरफोर्स में जाना है, हमें आर्मी में जाना है, नेवी में जाना है, कोस्ट गार्ड में जाना है. Don't do that. Once you are preparing for this, You never know which service is best for you. ज़्यादा कुछ फर्क नहीं है. Yeah, this I can say that Navy has ships and you go for a sea time. Coast Guard has a sea time. Air Force में generally you come back on base. Army में of course you have a lot of other postings as well, field postings and all. But एक average तरीके से देखो तो lot of people will feel that the service is same, the pattern is same. However, the locations and the way of working will also be same, but the locations and all will be a little different. So aim for all services.
Go ahead, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could tell us, how was the training in the Indian Naval Academy, and if any experiences that you would like to share with the aspirants?
Okay. Indian Naval Academy for me was a terror and a terrific experience both, because I was never a runner. I was never, what do you say, physically fit to run 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. So when I asked my dad, academy mein kya kya hota hai, because he had cleared his Air Force Academy about like long time back, 20, 25 years, 30 years back. So he told me, kuch nahi hota beta, it is just, just go run 5 kilometers or, maximum. That's what he told me. When I went to Indian Naval Academy, the first 2 weeks was, they call it the honeymoon period. Jisme kuch nahi hota hai, just you can walk aram se, and it was Asia's largest academy. You can walk, you can just do whatever you want. And the third week onwards, they gave us, rig. Usko rigs bolte hain, clothes ko, kapdo ko. So they gave us those PT rigs. And that was the time जब मैंने वो पहने थे, and उसके बाद I never stopped running, and I mean it. I have never ever walked in the academy for the next 6 months. The kind of physical activities they make you do will strengthen you. It will break you into pieces and then build an officer out of you. So that was the kind of training what we went through. However, right now I would say they give more focus upon the academics. But physically, if you say, yes, our times were a lot heavy on us.
Go ahead, ma'am. If you could also describe, how does the training for a Coast Guard cadet who joins, right, officer, looks like in the INA?
Okay. So, yes, Indian Naval Academy, the Coast Guard officers generally they get trained with Indian Naval in the Indian Naval Academy with the naval counterparts. However, Coast Guard is, I think, finally come up with an academy of their own. I'm not sure. I need to check that. However, the training is it's the same. There's no difference about it, because we have all those trainers from Navy itself and from Coast Guard as well. So since they all were trained in one certain organization and in a certain hierarchy, the same training procedure was followed for the Coast Guard as well. And yes, I would say that in case if you've not started your physical activities, please do, because it's a very major thing, and especially girls. India mein wo culture nahi hai that girls play and girls so India में वो culture नहीं है that girls are supposed to play outside and be physically fit, gym जाना है, ये करना है. It doesn't happen like that. वहाँ पे everyone is same. You have to run. If someone is running 10 kilometers, you have to run 10. If someone India में that thing is not there, that ladies are not supposed to run and gym नहीं जाना, ये नहीं करना, physical activities नहीं करना है. So if being a girl you are going in these services, you have to be a part of every run possible. I remember it's a very sensitive topic, but I remember I had my periods during the camps, which was a 4-night camp over there, and I went to my trainee officer and I asked her. I said, "Ma'am, I am on my period, so should I come for the run?" She said, "In case if there's a war, what will you do? We will sit with this." That was a time when I realized that it is a war situation and that is what we are trained for. So there's no looking back from since then. And I mean, that is a kind of seriousness which is there in the Indian Naval Academy. So, yes.
Ma'am, if you could also speak about, as a officer in the Indian Coast Guard, how does your one day look like when you are actually in the sea and when you're not on the sea as well?
Okay. So let me be specific. Lady officers, as of now, have not started going to the sea in Coast Guard. We are still under trials with that thing. However, Navy have a certain sea time. So if you talk about male officers, yes, they have a sea time where they are not in network for a lot of time, about 2 weeks, 1 week. They are mostly not there in network. However, the lady officers, yes, we are usually on the base and we have all the ground duties attached to us. So yes, that is one difference. However, down the line, maybe 5 years, 10 years from now, we'll be having a sea time. If you talk about a usual day for a Coast Guard officer, if you talk on base, then it is just like any corporate office. However, you have the liberty to switch a lot of roles. Like for example, I was an air traffic controller plus I was a logistics officer as well. So I had the liberty to switch roles and move from department to department. So I had one specific office from where I was controlling multiple departments. That was my kind of profile. And you don't have to be tied down to one chair in the entire day. That is not the scenario. You have the liberty to, you have an entire base, so you have the liberty to move from one place to another, which I generally, that is how I prefer working. I don't like getting tied to one desk. So that is the kind of liberty you have. And by evening you have sports. You generally you will be a part of some sport activity. It can be football or badminton or whatsoever. And you the best part in service is that you have all these facilities available, just right next to you. It's just available next door, so you don't have to move out or venture out of the base. Everything is just around you.
Got it, ma'am. If you could tell us, ma'am, as an ATC officer, how does your work look like? And, what are the various experiences that you have which you would like to share when you are an ATC officer?
So to for everyone who doesn't know what is an ATC officer, like ATC is an air traffic controller. I'm sure you must have seen out of the airport, there's a big tower, a huge tower on which, wo lagta hai ki observation deck hai, but that's not the case. People sit there and they control aircraft from there. So airport pe, if you see, there are a lot of planes and jinko take off and landing orders milte hain. So that is given from that ATC tower. I did not know what is an air traffic controller unless I went for the course uh, in Coast Guard. So air traffic controlling for me was a different ball game altogether, because I was usually into the ground duties and I was never inclined towards going towards the aviation sector in Coast Guard. So that was a big surprise for me when I got selected for that course. And air traffic controlling is a kind of video game. I'm sure a lot of people play here, but it's a mind game where you cannot see what is happening in the airspace, but you have to control aircraft. They can be 5, 10, 15, or multiple aircraft. Right now, we have a lot of instruments, which can track the aircraft in the air. But we were given a very conventional way, a very traditional way of working. That was a piece of paper and a pen, जहाँ पे you have to make sectors, कि ये एक air space है, ये north है, south है, east है, west है, something like that. And one aircraft is in the west, one aircraft is in the east and northwest and northeast. And that was the only what do you say, reference we had when there were multiple aircraft flying in the sky. So that was the kind of mind game you have to play with the aircraft. All you can see is when the aircraft is coming for landing or taking off. That was the only time when you can see the aircraft. So yes, it's a very risky job, and people say that air traffic controlling is one of the most what do you say? I'm not getting the word. It's one of the most riskiest place and stress. It's a very stressful job. One of the most stressful jobs. So yes, it is definitely. So when you are choosing air traffic controlling as a profession, please be very careful, because I remember one incident when I was controlling. There were two aircraft coming, and I gave them one level, though they were little far away, and the pilots, they were, trained, and uh, I knew them personally, but somehow. Yes, that was a very big mistake I made, and I still get goosebumps with that. That anything could happen in the air. So yes, these are the kind of risks which an air traffic controller controlling involves.
Got it, ma'am. If you could also tell us, in the Indian Coast Guard, how does the promotion time scale looks like? Like, is it similar to how the it works in the Navy and the Army?
Yeah, yeah. So yes, Coast Guard had initially, during my time, Coast Guard was indulging in a lot of promotions, and time scale, basically time scale based promotions. However, right now I think Coast Guard is having a huge number of officers, so I think now it's on merit basis.
Ma'am, if I can ask you, any three life lessons that you have learned from your time in the Indian Coast Guard, what would that be, which you have learned from your experience?
Okay, so before that, all I would like to tell you is that when we talk about the officer like qualities in a person, and my summary comes out from the OLQs. So what I would tell you is for the OLQs, and I think all the audience, first of all, you need to keep a helping nature, because a helping nature is something which builds leadership. It starts from one person and it starts moving down the hierarchy to multiple people. The second thing is discipline. Discipline वो कहने में बहुत मजा आता है कि disciplined हो जाओ, but it's a kind of self love, what I believe in, because your physical fitness and everything all deals with discipline, how disciplined you are in life. Your creativity and adaptability. So one point of time लोगों को लगता है कि भाई फौज ज्वाइन कर ली है, अब तो कुछ पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. It doesn't happen like that. Your creativity, your knowledge, everything is tested every year. You have a lot of exams. ACATS की टीम होती है, so they come, they take your exam. आपकी रैंकिंग होती है, आपकी रेटिंग्स होती हैं. So every year का process which starts from one end and finishes at the other. Adaptability and courage, ये बहुत ही major चीजें हैं, because at times you will be posted at an amazing place like Goa, and at times you will be posted at the worst place like Porbandar. Like जैसे मेरे साथ हुआ था, my what do you say, posting graph, it started deteriorating from Goa to Daman to Porbandar. So you have to be adaptable, with the situation and with the city you're staying in. Plus courage, of course. Just take a lot of risks, because forge is risky, and it is a lot of risks will only make you bloom in service. And of course, being kind is one thing, because it's a very major factor which we see in forge. Your family is my family, my family is your family. So that is how the forge works. And few things which I have learned in the forces is that you need to work pretty hard. It's not a piece of cake कि भाई अब तो चले गए फौज में हर महीने तनख्वाह आएगी. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to work hard. You have to earn every day. वो कहते हैं ना फौज में, a lot of people say कि इनको कैंटीन फैसिलिटीज मिलती हैं, इनको मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज मिलती हैं, इनको क्या चाहिए और. No, it doesn't happen like that, because every day is earned. When you talk about a fighter pilot, I've seen my dad when he would go in the air, we didn't know whether he's coming back today or not. So that was the kind of risk you take every day, and you're paid peanuts for that. You're not paid a very huge sum of amount for that. So and no money can of course cover that life thing. So you need to earn every day of yours. Endurance, EQ and IQ. आजकल EQ and IQ इतना कम हो चुका है. I don't know why, but yes, always focus upon your EQ and IQ. Knowledge ठीक है वो चलती रहेगी, but EQ and IQ is equally important. And फौजी कहते हैं ना, कहते हैं कि फौजी बहुत serious होता है. No, it doesn't happen like that. Fauji's are also humorous. They have their own life. They have a very certain way of life. Even a better way, I would say, because सब कुछ होता है उनके पास around. As I said, medical, canteen, colleges, base, people. So it's a way of life. So these are something which I have, grabbed from services.
Go ahead, ma'am. Ma'am, if you could also tell us, once you retire from the Indian Coast Guard as an officer, what are the various opportunities that you have in the corporate world or in the civil world?
Okay. So there are two ways to look at it. Once you are a Fauji, and people will start looking at you in a very different light. They will start considering you as someone who has a lot of OLQs, and ये बंदा तो संभाल ही लेगा. Like my CEO used to call me Brahmastra. You become the Brahmastra for every department. Wherever they put you, you will do well. So you will shine. However, there are two ways to go about it. In the sense is, once you retire from service, you will be given a certain PRC. A PRC is a pre-release course, which generally the service gives you. It's a 1 year or 2 year IIT में IIM में आपको course करा देंगे. However, the course does not matter much, because you're already experienced enough to handle any department. Usually people go the way of security officer and top management level professionals, because already they've finished 10 years, 14 years, 18 years, 20 years of service. So you can join as a professional anywhere and people will grab you. There is no second thought about it. The second thing what I have personally done is my journey has been being an entrepreneur, because business was something which was very fascinating for me. So I became an entrepreneur. I'm an author as well. Yesterday only I released my third book. So you have multiple things to do. The thing is that Forge will fill you with all the qualities you require to do whatever you can. The only thing is you need certain clarity of what you want. You want money, you want fame, you want power. So anything, even for IAS and all. If you are a 4G, you get a certain concession and certain kind of reservation for 4Gs as well in the IAS department. So you can aim for anything. Just thing is you need to be clear of what you want.
Got it, ma'am. Ma'am, if I can ask you, what does leadership mean to you, and also how does armed forces help you develop those leadership skill when you are there?
Okay. So for me, since start, leadership for me has been just do your job. Close your eyes. Don't look at people. Don't look at embarrassment. कौन क्या बोल रहा है, कैसे बोल रहा है. Do your job. What job has been given to you or what you have taken in your hands, just do it. Automatically what happens is in service there are a lot of people who are working under you. Like I remember under my department there were about 20-25 people, and the age group was so it was varying so much. That is like people from 18 years to 55 years of age were there under in my department. So to tackle those people, it's a different ball game altogether. Yes, you need leadership, but it comes with experience. And it was a kind of forced leadership, to be very frank enough, because people are under you in a department, so they have to listen to you. The real meaning of leadership I understood when I came out of service, and people still wanted to listen to me without being forced to. They were still coming to me for assistance or any kind of solution. So that is what I consider as a true leadership, because they're not forced, they're not getting anything out of it, but they're still ready to follow you, they're still ready to listen to you. So yes, I absolutely respect that as a leader.
Got it, ma'am. Ma'am, my final question to you be, since a lot of aspirants will be watching this, what will be your message to all of them who wants to join the
Mhm.
forces?
Okay. So, one thing I would like to tell people, in fact, two, three things. First thing is just be yourself. If service is not for you, something else will be. Please don't get depressed कि भाई क्या हो जाएगा मेरा, and I can't join the services. This is ये मेरे साथ ही होना था. It doesn't happen like that. If you are not getting a part in the service, it means you are meant for something else. Don't be so depressed. हाँ वो होता है 10-15 दिन का depression, but then get over it and do something else. The second thing is you have to work pretty hard. Work hard. The day you say, okay, stop, I don't want to be a part of the service and I'm done, you should actually feel it from within, because hard work pays. I absolutely agree to that. So if you have worked hard enough, definitely you will go through. Third thing is physical fitness. Please, आप फौज में हो ना हो, it doesn't matter. Your physical fitness is something which will take you wherever you want to go, wherever and whatever you want to do. Fourth thing is endurance and EQ and IQ. Please इस पे काम करना बहुत जरूरी है, because that is what builds your character, and character is very important in service. And the fifth thing, as I said, that Forge is not serious. It's never like कि आपको serious ही रहना है वहाँ पे. Yes, it's a way of life, and in case if you're a part of services, then nothing else can be better than this.
Got it. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for your time on this session, sharing your experience in the Coast Guard and various life lessons that you had as part of an ATC officer as well. I hope a lot of people will get some insight of how life looks like in the Coast Guard. So thanks again, ma'am, for your time on here. Thank you.
Thank thank you so much, Akash. And any help, I'm there. Just a call away.
Thank you, ma'am.